Have you ever found yourself staring blankly at the endless choices in the meat section, wondering if you're really picking the best quality for your money? Or worse, have you ever opened your groceries at home only to find the meat packaging leaked all over everything? We've all had that moment of frustration. Finding the right place to buy meat for your household can feel like a pretty big deal. And let's be honest, grocery stores are not all on the same playing field, especially when it comes to the meat department. On one side, you want the convenience of a large retailer. On the other, you want that personal touch you get from a local butcher who knows you by name. That's exactly why How to Know is diving in deep today. We've checked out 20 of the most popular grocery chains across the US and ranked them from bottom to top based on what really counts: meat quality, variety, staff knowledge, and overall experience. Does your usual grocery store land near the top? Or is it time to switch things up? You might be surprised. Let's get started. 20. We're kicking off this countdown with a familiar name that many of us love for all kinds of things, but not necessarily meat: Target. Sure, Target's the place you go for a bottle of shampoo and walk out with an entire cart full of stuff you didn't know you needed. But when it comes to meat, that's where things fall flat. The biggest drawback is the lack of options. Even in a super Target, the meat department seems like an afterthought. And with no in-house butcher, what you see is what you get. You won't find anyone to guide you toward the best cut for your barbecue or help with custom portions. It's all pre-packaged and standard fare. Now, to be fair, the meat isn't necessarily poor in quality. It's comparable to what you'd find at other large chains because they all share major suppliers like Thomas Foods. But here's a heads up. Some of the meat may come from countries as far away as Nicaragua, so read those labels closely. Bottom line, if you're already grabbing cleaning supplies and need dinner in a pinch, okay, but Target wouldn't be our first stop for quality meats. Ever tried it yourself? Let us know what you thought. 19. Coming in just ahead is a store many adore for its quirky snacks and budget-friendly freezer section: Trader Joe's. Now, don't get upset just yet. When they do have meat, the quality is often solid. The catch? You'll be lucky if you find what you're looking for at all. Their selection is tiny. Blink and you'll miss it. So unless you're already stopping by for frozen Mandarin chicken, it's probably not worth making a dedicated meat run. But here's a bigger issue: transparency. Trader Joe's sells nearly everything under their own label, including meat. That means you never really know where it came from. One package might come from a farm in Arizona, another from Michigan, and there's no easy way to tell. Now, while that might not be a deal breaker for snacks, it's different when it comes to meat. Knowing the source matters. Does the lack of sourcing info concern you, or are you happy as long as it tastes good? Share your thoughts. Now we're swinging to the other end of the spectrum. At number 18 is the giant everyone knows, Walmart. And the good news? Selection is not a problem here. Walmart carries tons of standard cuts, whether you're in one of their supercenters or smaller locations. But here's the catch: specialty or premium cuts, not so much. If you're looking for something a little fancier, like a dry-aged ribeye, you probably won't find it here. Like other big chains, most of Walmart's meat comes from huge processors like Cargill or Tyson, which can make tracing the source tricky. However, Walmart is making moves to improve. Their 100% grass-fed beef is now US sourced, with farms in places like Utah and Wyoming. Plus, they've partnered with a rancher-owned operation called Sustainable Beef LLC out of Nebraska. So if you shop at Walmart, look closely for labels that say US grass-fed beef. That's where the real value is. Have you noticed a difference? Let us know your take. 17. Heading over to the East Coast for number 17, we're looking at Giant, which you might recognize as either Giant Carlisle or Giant Landover, depending on where you are. What's great about Giant is their private label, Nature's Promise. They offer organic and grass-fed beef from farms in places like South Dakota and Nebraska. That's a big win for quality. But here's the problem: you can't buy it if it's not there. And too often, the shelves are empty. It's frustrating to plan your meal, head to the store, and find the selection totally wiped out or down to a few unappealing options. That inconsistency in availability is a real issue. You shouldn't have to guess whether your preferred cut will be in stock. Has that been your experience too, East Coasters? Or have you cracked the code and figured out the best delivery day? 16. Staying in the same region, we arrive at ShopRite. This store, popular in states like New Jersey and Pennsylvania, gets credit for its ethical approach. Their parent company puts a big focus on animal welfare, and their bowl and basket chicken line is free of hormones and antibiotics. So what's holding them back from a higher ranking? The in-store experience. ShopRite can be packed. Seriously, packed. That means long waits at the butcher counter and rushed service. That said, we really appreciate the care put into packaging. Their meats are usually sealed tight, so you don't end up with those dreaded leaky bags. It's a small touch, but an important one. Do you brave the crowds for ShopRite's quality meats? If you figured out the best time to shop stress-free, let us in on your secret. 15. We're now heading into the Midwest to take a closer look at our number 15 pick, Mayer. If you're from this part of the country, the name Mayer probably rings a bell, and for good reason. It's a go-to for many families, and when it comes to meat, it has a few big positives that might surprise you. Let's start with Mayer's biggest strength, freshness. If getting meat that was cut and packaged just hours ago is your top priority, this store delivers. Their meat department does a great job of offering cuts that are prepared daily, meaning what you're putting in your cart hasn't been sitting around for days. That's a big win, especially for things like ground beef or steaks for the grill. Their meat case is also fairly wide, giving you a good range of everyday cuts to choose from. If you're shopping for the basics, chicken breasts, pork chops, sirloin, you'll likely find what you need. It's easy, it's accessible, and for the average dinner plan, it gets the job done. But here's where Mayer falls short and why it didn't break into our top 10. Ethical sourcing. Compared to some of the higher-ranked stores, Mayer is surprisingly light on public commitments to animal welfare. While they do have a pledge for cage-free eggs, that's about as far as it goes. There's very little transparency when it comes to how their meat is sourced or whether any third-party certifications are involved. So you're left with a bit of a trade-off. You get excellent freshness, but you don't necessarily get that peace of mind that comes with strong ethical sourcing practices. For some shoppers, freshness is enough. For others, that lack of clarity on animal welfare may be a deal breaker. Are you a Mayer regular? What matters more to you? Ultra-fresh meat or strong transparency about where it came from? We'd love to hear your thoughts. 14. Coming in next is a store that has become a household name in Europe and is quickly making waves here in the US. At number 14, it's Lidl. Now, on paper, Lidl looks like it should be much higher on this list. Their sourcing standards sound great. They promote antibiotic-free chicken, raised in the US, hormone-free lamb from Australia, and beef that's traceable to specific ranches. That all sounds amazing, right? But, and it's a big but, the real-world experience often doesn't line up with what's written on the website or printed in the brochures. We've heard far too many reports of meat that seems off, like it's gone bad before the expiration date. Some shoppers have opened the cooler only to find meat that smells funky or looks discolored. Others have reported issues with the packaging itself, broken seals, soggy containers, or liquid pooling around the meat trays. That's not something you want to deal with when you're just trying to pick up a few items for dinner. To be fair, not every Lidl is like this. Some locations are spotless and stocked with fresh, high-quality meat that rivals the best. The problem is inconsistency. You never quite know what you're going to get. One visit might be great, the next might have you turning on your heels and heading back out the door. So Lidl ends up in this middle ground position. They clearly have strong intentions, but the execution just isn't reliable across all their stores. If you've shopped at Lidl, what's been your experience? Are you one of the lucky ones with a fantastic local store? Or have you run into the same issues others have mentioned? 13. At number 13, we've got our first major wholesale club on the list, BJ's Wholesale Club. If you're on the East Coast, chances are you've seen one, or maybe you're even a member. BJ's has a few surprising strengths, starting with this. Even though it's a warehouse-style store, you're not locked into buying giant family-sized meat packs. One of the best features is that they have on-site butchers, and those butchers will gladly break down larger pieces for you. Need that massive cut halved? No problem. Want a smaller roast? They'll do it. This makes BJ's a great option for families that want that bulk pricing without needing to buy a 30-pound package of ground beef. They've also made some good moves on quality. Their store brand,
Wellesley Farms, offers free-range chicken, and many people swear it tastes noticeably better. The beef selection is also decent, especially for basics like ribeyes or sirloin steaks. But there are a couple downsides that keep BJ's from cracking the top 10. First, leaky packaging. Time and time again, we've come across messy packages sitting in the fridge or freezer section. No one wants to grab a tray of chicken only to pull back a wet, sticky hand. It's just gross. Second, timing can make a big difference. If you visit right before delivery or restock, the shelves might be close to empty, and what's left might not be the best cuts. So if you're planning a big meal or dinner party, you'll want to be strategic about when you go. Still, for a wholesale store, BJ's offers more flexibility than most. If you're a member, learn your store's delivery schedule and take advantage of the butchers. You might be surprised at what you can get with a little planning. Have you experienced the dreaded wet hand situation at BJ's? Or maybe you've had a great butcher interaction? Let us know below. 12. Next up, it's the other major warehouse heavyweight, Costco, our number 12 pick. Costco's reputation for meat really comes down to one thing: value. You'll find excellent prices on premium cuts that would cost you significantly more elsewhere. It's not unusual to walk out with a ribeye that rivals what you'd find at a high-end butcher, but for half the price. They achieve that by buying in massive volumes and passing those savings on to you. That's what makes Costco such a draw for families looking to stock up. But here's a trade-off. Sourcing is all over the map. Costco's meat can come from the US, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, or even Southeast Asia. While their chicken and pork are mostly domestic, the beef supply chain is global. Now, that doesn't mean it's low quality. It just means traceability is difficult. You might get grass-fed beef from Australia one week and domestic grain-fed the next, depending on what's available. They also don't offer many specialty cuts, though you can often find a helpful butcher who will assist with trimming or packaging requests. Just don't expect the kind of personal service you'd get at a smaller store. So if your top priority is getting high-quality meat at a great price, and you're okay with a little mystery about where it came from, Costco is an excellent choice. But if transparency and sourcing are your top concerns, you might want to look elsewhere. Are you Team Costco? Does the price outweigh the traceability concerns for you? 11. Just shy of the top 10 is a name that's been around forever, Safeway, our number 11 grocery chain for meat. At first glance, Safeway's meat department looks pretty average. You'll find all the basics: chicken, pork, ground beef, supplied by the usual big-name producers like Tyson. Nothing too fancy or flashy, but enough to cover dinner for the week. And like many chains, most of the standard cuts come from large-scale suppliers. But here's what most people don't know. Safeway has an exclusive relationship with a company called Aspen Ridge, a Canadian beef producer known for their high standards. Their cattle are raised without antibiotics or growth hormones, and they're certified humane. This makes a huge difference in quality, and you can find this premium product right in your local Safeway, if you know what to look for. You'll need to keep an eye out for packages that have the certified humane, raised and handled sticker. That's the golden ticket. That label means you're getting meat that's held to much higher standards than the average supermarket offering. So Safeway is basically a tale of two departments. There's the standard fare, that's fine, and then there's the Aspen Ridge beef that's in a different league altogether. The trick is simply knowing what to reach for. Are you a Safeway shopper? Have you spotted that humane label? If you've tried it, we'd love to know if you could taste the difference. 10. We've officially made it to the top 10, and leading the charge is another warehouse club with some unexpected wins: Sam's Club. Sam's Club often gets compared to Costco, and for good reason. They both offer bulk pricing, wide selection, and good value. But when it comes to meat, Sam's Club pulls slightly ahead, and here's why. First off, the quality. In our experience, the meat at Sam's Club, especially the beef, tends to be a notch above. You can find higher grade cuts more consistently, and they're packaged with care. But the biggest edge comes from their sourcing policies. Unlike Costco's global approach, Sam's Club sources most of its meat from the US and Australia. That makes it easier to trace where your food came from, and that kind of transparency matters to a lot of shoppers. They've also made some big moves in animal welfare. For example, they've promised that by 2025, all their fresh chicken will be 100% antibiotic-free. That's a meaningful commitment. And because their chicken is sourced domestically, it's something they can actually monitor and enforce. This combination of quality, transparency, and long-term commitments is what lifts Sam's Club above its competitors. It's not just about price, it's about trust and consistency. So if you're a member at both Sam's and Costco, this could be the detail that helps you decide where to buy your next round of steaks or chicken thighs. Are you a Sam's Club shopper? Do you notice a difference in their meat department compared to other warehouse stores? We'd love to hear from you. 9. Moving into the single digits now, at number 9, we've got a supermarket that's practically everywhere in the US, Kroger. If you're just browsing the standard meat section at Kroger, you might think it's your average grocery store setup. You'll find the basics: chicken, pork, ground beef, supplied by the usual big-name producers like Tyson. Nothing too fancy or flashy, but enough to cover dinner for the week. But here's where things get interesting. Kroger has a private label brand called Simple Truth, and it's this brand that launches them into our top 10. Their Simple Truth organic beef doesn't come from where you might expect, not Texas or California. It's sourced from Uruguay. Now, before you raise an eyebrow, here's why that matters. Uruguay has some of the strictest beef raising standards in the world. In fact, it was the first country outside the US to earn the USDA's Never Ever 3 certification, meaning the cattle were never treated with antibiotics, never fed animal byproducts, and never given growth hormones. Ever. That's a huge deal. So while most shoppers might just see a Kroger sticker and assume it's standard supermarket fare, the Simple Truth label is offering some of the cleanest, most rigorously raised meat you can find, often exceeding US organic standards. It's a great example of a store quietly doing something impressive behind the scenes. But you've got to be in the know. If you're not actively looking for the Simple Truth brand, it's easy to overlook entirely. So next time you're at Kroger, keep your eyes peeled for their organic line, especially the beef. You're not just buying better meat, you're supporting a program that's held to exceptional global standards. Are you a Kroger shopper? Did you know where their organic beef came from? If you tried it, tell us, did it live up to the hype? 8. For our 8th spot, we're heading west, Southern California to be exact. This next store might not be familiar to everyone across the country, but if you're in the region, you'll definitely know Stater Brothers. This is the kind of store that doesn't just have butchers behind the counter. It has butcher masters. Seriously, to work the meat counter at Stater Brothers, employees go through an intensive 2-year state-certified training program. That's not something you see every day. And that level of training makes a noticeable difference. Whether you're looking for the perfect cut for a holiday roast or just need some advice on how to cook a particular steak, these folks know their stuff. The quality is consistently excellent, especially when it comes to beef. They work with Harris Ranch, a family-owned operation that's been in business since 1937. It's one of the few grocery chains where you can trace the meat directly back to a respected, long-standing farm. Transparency is a major strength here. Stater Brothers is very open about their sourcing and practices. For example, their beef is finished on a corn-based diet, and while antibiotics are used in some cases, every cut is tested to ensure it's free of residue by the time it hits your plate. In a perfect world, sure, we'd love to see more 100% grass-fed options. But what really earns Stater Brothers its top 10 position is the clarity. You always know what you're getting and where it's from. So, why aren't they even higher? Mainly due to 2 limitations. Their selection beyond beef isn't as extensive, and their locations are limited to Southern California. If they expanded nationally and broadened their poultry and pork options, they'd definitely be in the top 5. But for those who live near one, Stater Brothers is a hidden gem. If you're in the SoCal area, have you had the Stater Brothers meat counter experience? Is that 2-year butcher training something you've noticed? Let us know. 7. Heading back east and slightly down south, our number 7 pick is a name with a strong local following and a pretty bold promise printed right on their packaging: Harris Teeter. If you've never been, Harris Teeter is a staple in the Southeast. They're known for clean stores, friendly staff, and most notably being the first retailer in the US to offer USDA-certified very tender beef. Yes, very tender is an official designation, and they don't put that label on just anything. And you know what? It shows. Their beef lives up to the label with consistently soft texture and rich flavor, especially for store-brand cuts. But the meat department is more than just a label. Their butcher staff is incredibly helpful, often going out of their way to offer assistance. Need something custom cut? Just ask. We've even seen staff step away from the counter to check the back room for a fresher package or rare cut. That kind of service is hard to find these days. Another thing worth calling out, the stores are immaculately clean. You're not digging through sloppy stacks of packages or dealing with mystery liquids dripping off shelves. The meat cases are neat, the products are well organized, and the packaging is sealed tight. If you shop during quieter hours, weekday mornings for instance, it's an especially pleasant experience. You have the time and space to browse without feeling rushed or bumped around. So when you put it all together, certified tender beef, excellent service, and a clean, well-maintained environment, Harris Teeter earns its high spot with ease. Do you live near a Harris Teeter? Have you tested their very tender claim? Drop your experience in the comments. Coming in at number 6 is a store that surprises a lot of people, not because they've never heard of it, but because they didn't expect it to beat out its more famous sibling. That store is Aldi. Yes, Aldi, the no-frills, budget-friendly chain that shares historical roots with Trader Joe's, actually edges out its more recognized relative on 2 key fronts: meat selection and pricing. Let's talk selection first. Aldi might have a small footprint and limited aisles, but its meat offerings are broader and more consistent than Trader Joe's. From ground beef and pork chops to chicken breasts and turkey, you'll find most of the staples here at unbeatable prices. That brings us to point 2, value. Aldi delivers some of the most affordable meat on this entire list, and a big reason for that is their focus on sourcing regionally. That cuts down on shipping costs, and those savings get passed on to you. One catch though, Aldi operates mostly with private label packaging. That means you won't know the specific farm your meat came from, and for some shoppers, that's a downside. Still, their chicken is sourced from Tyson, and the imported meats come from reputable regions, like Canada and Australia, not China. So if you want solid quality at the best price, and don't need butcher-level customization or full transparency, Aldi is a fantastic choice. Are you an Aldi regular? Have you found a go-to meat product there that's just as good as something double the price elsewhere? Tell us what's in your cart. 5. Now we're stepping into the top 5 with a store that's both historic and beloved on Long Island, King Kullen. Often referred to as America's first supermarket, King Kullen has been serving customers for nearly a century. That experience shows up in every corner of their meat department. The quality's high, the cuts are varied, and they carry premium options like USDA choice beef and Bell & Evans poultry, which is known for humane, antibiotic-free practices. But what really makes King Kullen special? They're butchers. Even on a busy weekend, we've seen butchers come out from behind the counter just to offer help. They're not just slicing meat, they're guiding you toward the right cut, asking about your recipe, and offering suggestions you didn't even know you needed. For those lucky enough to live near King Kullen, it's more than just a store. It's a neighborhood institution with old-school service that still exists in a modern setting. Live on Long Island? Is King Kullen your secret spot? Let us know your favorite cuts. Heading down to the southeast, our number 4 pick is a grocery chain with die-hard fans, Publix. People love Publix for lots of reasons, but their meat department really brings it all together. The selection is solid, featuring antibiotic-free options, clean packaging, and consistently fresh cuts. What truly sets them apart, though, is customer service. Their butchers go beyond, repackaging large portions into smaller ones, trimming fat paps, and answering questions with real care. That kind of personalized attention is rare these days. Publix is a total package. Quality, variety, and service all wrapped up in a clean, welcoming store. No wonder it has such a loyal following. 3. In third place, we have a name that's practically synonymous with premium: Whole Foods. Sure, it's more expensive, but you're paying for extremely high standards. Whole Foods guarantees that all its meat is raised without antibiotics or hormones, and their selection is huge. And you can find unique cuts that are hard to track down elsewhere, like dry-aged steaks or local specialty meats. Speaking of local, many Whole Foods stores source directly from nearby farms and label them as such. But if there's no farm label on the meat, it may be from larger producers like Tyson. Still, every product meets Whole Foods' strict requirements. So yes, it's pricier, but when it comes to quality and ethics, Whole Foods delivers.
At number 2 is a Northeast gem that inspires serious envy from shoppers outside its region, Wegmans. What makes Wegmans shine is their direct partnerships with farms. They work closely with places like Centerfield Farms in Virginia to source meat that's hormone-free, antibiotic-free, and fully traceable. You're not just buying meat, you're buying transparency. Their labels often tell you exactly which farm the product came from, making it one of the most trustworthy meat buying experiences out there. It's the kind of care and connection that's rare in large grocery chains, and that's why Wegmans earns our number 2 spot. And finally, our number 1 pick, Sprouts Farmers Market. Sprouts combines the best of all worlds: huge selection, reasonable prices, and uncompromising standards. Every single package of beef is 100% grass-fed, raised without hormones or antibiotics, and comes from Midwest ranches with high animal welfare standards. That's not a premium option, it's the default. That level of consistency and integrity is what puts Sprouts at the top. If you want clean, responsibly sourced meat from a store that makes quality their baseline, Sprouts is the one to beat. That wraps up our countdown. Which store do you trust most for your meat shopping? Did your favorite make the list or get snubbed? Jump into the comments and let us know. And as always, if this guide helped you, give it a like and consider subscribing to How to Know for more smart shopping tips. Thanks for sticking with us and happy cooking.